Hello and welcome to another episode of No Load Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the Mandalorian apprentice, Din Joel Young.
Didn't Joel Young, one of the many names I carry. Good to be with you, Obed. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm still battling this thing that I was battling last week. It's so strange. It could be the human malware. I mean, I told the wife, it's like maybe I caught it somewhere, right? It's been long overdue for a rematch, but no, feeling much better. Still a little bit congested, but doing fine otherwise, sir.
I love how you referred to it as the human malware. Obed just accepting
I'm accepting
his his
accepting my
his
nerddom.
machine.
Yeah,
Yeah, his nerdum. Yeah,
I am accepting the cybernetics. I'm
there it
I'm
is.
good.
There it
I'm
is.
good.
That
Yeah,
that's what I was looking for.
yeah, totally
Oh
accepted of
man,
that. Yeah, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Just now getting into summer, so looking forward to a lot of really good things. And one of those things that I'm looking forward to is, of course, Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con International. I will be going there this July. We will be covering it for the podcast. So everyone that enjoyed the MegaCon coverage, get ready. San Diego's the big one. That MegaCon is cute. It's a lot of fun. I have
It's
nothing bad to say
cute.
about it. It's
Wow.
nice. It's great. I have nothing bad to say about it. But San Diego Comic Con's a very different beast. It's
Would you say so? Would you say that MegaCon is the fun spot to the to the islands of
wow.
adventure that is Mega Comic Con?
That's a good analogy.
Okay,
I could go with that. I could rock with that.
okay.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I mean it's
Not the fun spot's bad. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
no,
Hey,
for
you know
sure.
what? I enjoyed
Mhm.
that little park a ton. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, well, there's an arcade there.
Yes,
That's a lot
and
of fun.
it's crazy because last time we went a few weeks ago, right? For I took with my daughter for
Oh,
spring
okay.
break.
Wow.
Yeah. And oh
Okay.
man, that arcade's so sad now. And
Mm.
I remember I had my wedding anniversary this past few days, right?
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
thank you,
Congratulations.
sir. And I was remembering back when I first got married, right? And I was already living here, and then my wife moved over. Um, we I remember going to the Fun Spot just for the arcade a couple times back, you know, 20 years ago, and and it was a lot of fun, man. Like they had a ton of games, a lot of really good stuff, right? Um, and tons of fun, and they had most modern things, right? And they also had some classic stuff. But now it's mostly like gotcha ticket things and some of the bigger ones. But like Dave and Buster's is probably a better
Mm.
location, honestly speaking. Like when it comes to like an arcade, not to mention the you know local arcades like Arcade Monsters. A couple locations in
Yeah.
Central Florida already, and they're phenomenal. And then there's a couple of arcade bars too. So it's tough. But when it comes to entertaining and doing fun stuff around, right, for a little bit, yeah, it's cute. But then it's not going and spending 9 to 9 at a high
Right.
thrills establishment like Alice Adventure. So
Right. Right. No, totally fair. Totally fair. I mean, it's Florida. We have so much for those of you that are not here or locally in Florida. Like people just think of Disney, but there is
stay
so much
away,
different
stay
tourism.
away until we can figure this out. We'll get through it.
It's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're fine. We're fine, guys. Things things are a little sensationalized these days.
Yeah, yeah.
But for sure, no, with Comic Con, what I brought it up to say that this is the first year that I actually have a success story early going into Comic Con, and that is around Hotel Apocalypse. If you're a Comic Conner, you know that Hotel Apocalypse is a big battle where essentially we all are in this randomizer hoping to get our hotel spots of our dreams because you can't just call a hotel and book a hotel for Comic Con. That's not how it works. If you've never been, what they do is they intentionally block off all the hotels within the local area. You call any of them to book, you go online to book, they'll say there's nothing available. They intentionally hold it for this event called Hotel Apocalypse, where they have a specific amount that is allotted for Comic Con attendees that they first give first dibs through this randomized process. You submit a request,
Wow.
you find out your fate a few days later, and then you have the chance of either saying, yes, I'm going to take what you've given me, or no, I'm going to try and figure something else out. And it's, I mean, that's just how it is. And it's insane to me because, any other event that you do, you would think, hey, I can just, figure things out for myself. But everyone's in the same boat here, equal opportunity, including press, including professional. It doesn't matter. They still put you all through the same thing. So for years in the past, I've always been just outside of the convention and had to take shuttles in. Thankfully, they have shuttles all around the city that's just for Comic Con attendees. You have to show your badge to get in. You okay? So you were talking about the fun spot analogy. My analogy for this thing is that it's the Super Bowl for nerds. Like it's like as
It
you would
basically
think that
is,
there's
yeah.
like you would assume that like it was one of those like national events of that level for sure, and it is to some extent. Um, so yeah, they have these shuttles that bring people in, but it's always a pain. You got to wake up in the morning, wait for the bus. You got to get in. It's the whole thing, right? This year, I'm really fortunate enough to say I've got an actual on-site hotel. When I say on-site, I am within walking. There is no shuttles even
Nice.
as an option. I'm walking out across the street straight into the
So
convention.
that means that you're not gonna
Um,
sleep, sir, for like a
oh,
week.
I'm gonna be pushing it. I'm gonna be pushing it. It's gonna be great. I'm not gonna say which hotel I got. I'm not gonna dox myself because the internet's
Yeah.
a place. But no, I really got hooked up really, really good. It's one of the best ones there. So I'm looking forward to it. I say that to say like that's gonna help with our coverage because in the years past, last year, if you remember, Obed and we did an episode, guys, live from California. We broadcast an episode early the day before. Um, and then, we tried to work through the Wi-Fi issues. And then basically at night, I was only able to upload very, very late just because of connectivity. Connectivity was better in San Diego than it was even here at MegaCon, which is weird, but that's another whole conversation. Regardless, I think that we're gonna be in a really good spot. I'm really, really excited. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cousins, tell a friend to tell another friend that No Load Time is gonna be bringing it this July. So stick with us. But yeah, that's some good news. I've got reason to smile.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, I remember the first time that you went, you stayed at a Airbnb, right? And then you've been going up from there, right?
I never
Yeah.
stayed actually at an
Okay.
Airbnb, but I
Okay.
stayed even for I was when I tell you I was far the first time I ever went, I was super far, dude. So it's only gotten better, like you said.
Yeah,
It
it's
has
gotten
gotten
better.
closer.
It's getting
Yes.
progressively better. That's
It
good.
is
That's
progress.
good.
I was this close to booking an Airbnb because obviously that doesn't have anything to do with Hotel Apocalypse. I was like, I don't know that I'm gonna get this. There's too many people.
You're
And
gonna get a
well,
random place with
right? Where are
no,
they gonna send me? I don't like
no,
this because there's a
no.
lot, bro. There's people that are saying like them and their friends put in, and they got sent to like two different places, and they're not gonna be anywhere near each other, and it's just weird. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, man. No, good stuff. Good stuff. Nothing really to update on my end. I'm up almost at the end on RE4. I'm a couple hours away. Again, so far, absolutely phenomenal experience. I really want to talk about the game more when I
yeah,
finish it, and I'm totally doing a new game plus. I think what I'm gonna do, Joel, is I'm gonna do a new game plus, and then I'll jump into Zelda after that, and I'll leave Jedi Survivor for summer ish, maybe August, because we got Final Fantasy coming out in June and Street Fighter. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know. I don't. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough, right? For me to be able to balance a new Street Fighter with a ton of other great games around it, and then Spider Man comes out. Rumor in September. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
Yeah. So there could be a possibility that's gonna happen, and there's still like the second part for Final Fantasy VII remake. They said it's coming out in was it winter next winter, so
Hmm.
that could be anywhere between December and March of next year. So I think I think I'm safe on that one, right? But I still got to worry about Spider-Man, and I still got to worry about Zelda, which is 100 hour game.
Oh
If you
yeah.
want to go through it um, thoroughly, you're gonna get at least 100 hours out of that. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy, dude. But I'm really excited this year. It's really exciting. Like I saw a couple articles that people that have kind of like stopped gaming, and the newer consoles like the PS5 and the Xbox kind of like rekindled like the gaming excitement. I was like, it's exciting, right? You don't have to wait
It is.
for load times. Things look great out of the box.
Uh-huh.
They run good most of the time. So it's great. Like it's a great time, right? Um if you are on the fence of jumping in, the new consoles make it worth it. Absolutely. And there's GPUs have come down in price if you want to build a PC for gaming, and you can do that too, right? And Nintendo's doing their thing, and they're making a ton of money, and that's fine. And I'm still pretty convinced that that new Switch is gonna get announced at that event, the live event that they're gonna host in September. So I think it's gonna be
93.
not yeah the Nintendo 93. So I think it's gonna get revealed there and come out more than likely in November. There's a ton of rumors about that. I don't know if you've seen the modular PS5 with like a slim without
Yeah.
the
Looks good.
without the drive, and then it's gonna have like an external drive.
Oh, that sounds
So
good.
I mean that's another possibility that comes out later this year. So we'll see. But Joel, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the season finale or the series finale of The Mandalorian. Um, I am conflicted in this episode. It was
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
I liked it. I think it's because
Yeah.
it's the last season, or the ending of season 2
Yeah.
was so hype, and season 2 overall had so many hype moments that this one felt a little bit flat to me. I liked it,
Yeah.
right? But there was no hype moment. It was good, but there was no crazy surprises. And that's where I'm conflicted, right? I think that the previous season, the last season especially, right, and Book of Boba Fett. Because I'll count Book of Boba Fett as Mando season 2.5, right? Basically, because it's half of the season, it's basically Din Djarin helping Boba Fett.
For sure.
So I think that a lot of us were expecting crazy twists and big reveals and crazy cameos and all that, right? And I think they did a really good job at subverting expectations. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then the thing happened, but no one showed up. It's like, okay. So I appreciate that the show was becoming this sort of like cameo fest, and these
Hmm.
other characters were showing up and doing stuff, and then Mando was there doing his thing, but then the other characters were like the big thing in the show. So I appreciate that they stuck to Din Djarin and Bo-Katan until the end, and they stuck through it. And I think it was a satisfying ending that could not only be the season finale. If they wanted to close the book, they could. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, John Favreau already said that season 4 is already written, so that's gonna happen. But I think it's probably going to be a huge departure from what the show has been. I think the chapter where Din and he's trying to find his way around Grogu and all that, that chapter's done, and that's done. And then what's coming after that, it's gonna be something that's probably gonna be substantially different than the previous seasons. So that's my take on it. We can go into spoilers, but what do you think?
Yeah, I it's funny because I did not get to watch this episode until literally an hour and a half before we were going live. So before you and I, we did our pre-meeting before we jump on for the podcast. I had just finished wrapping it. That kind of been a tradition of mine with the shows. I like to watch it at night. It's nice. It's dark outside, black everything out, turn all the lights off, just you and the screen, make a cinematic experience. And yeah, so I say to say like I have not digested this episode fully. I just have my initial reaction to it. And yeah, I really liked it. I think that it was as a good finale. I think it's overall it's a good episode. Um do I think that it's the best season of The Mandalorian? No. Do I think that that's because it's like horrible or something? No. Do I think that it's like, you know, less than or some of the worst Star Wars we've seen? Not even close. I just think that, like you said, we as Star Wars fans sometimes have this issue where we get so excited about some things that we think we figured it all out and we don't enjoy what's just in front of us and just sit and just eat and enjoy what we have, what's being served. And we get so much into like, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, and I'm gonna feel these emotions and I'm gonna
Yeah.
think this and it's gonna connect to that. And it's like just sit and chill. Just sit and enjoy what's in front of us. Now, with that being said, there is fairness in the argument around um, there was nothing there was nothing that really left you going, okay, like here, what's the punchline, the big kick that we all were kind of waiting for in the
Mm-hmm.
episode? Specifically with the Praetorian guards, right? Like I thought, because we're gonna talk spoilers now, right? So I thought for sure that you were gonna have Grogu do something way more epic, right? Or I thought maybe another character would show up, or it'd be a little bit more clever.
Yeah.
But it was the way it was done makes sense because my first initial reaction was like, "Oh snap!" You can't have Dinjarin just walk in and just shoot these guys dead. Like that's not that would not
Yeah.
fly. Like
You
Star Wars, as much as I love the Mandalorian, you can't do that.
you know what I thought? It was that when they got separated,
Yeah.
um, and IG Krang got destroyed. I thought that somehow, right? And I was like, like this is like super out of character, right? But I was thinking that somehow Luke gave Grogu both the chainmail
Hmm.
and the Yoda's lightsaber,
Yep.
and he was gonna start lightsabering suckers over there. So
Right.
yeah,
And that would have been the kick scene that like I feel
yeah,
like I was waiting for. Like that's what I was like something like that was gonna happen. I was gonna be like, oh snap, you know. And I agree. I was thinking the same thing. But the way they did it was very clever. Like, he used the force to freeze them. Grow, then Din comes in and just takes them out, whether it's with a knife or shooting them. So like it was choreographed very wisely. But I was like, hold on, what are they doing for a split second? I also think that the whole like, reveal of Moff Gideon and his cloning
that
process,
was super
that
flat.
was yeah, that was not what I
super,
saw
that
coming.
was super flat.
We all thought it was gonna be a Snoke connection, which it kind of still
Yeah.
is to some extent, but I did not think it was gonna be him making himself what with force abilities.
So when they walked in and I was like, oh, are those Snokes? And then they started looking more like Gideon. I was like, well, it
Right.
makes sense, right? Because Hux is the one that was after that Project Necromancer and not Gideon. Gideon was interested in him gaining power to him be able to be the new leader of
Hmm.
whatever the remnant of the empire was. So, um, but it was super flat, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be something bigger, but I mean, at the same time, his idea was pretty wicked. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a, not only these are gonna be like super soldiers, force willing soldiers are also gonna be me, right? So
Right.
like that's pretty terrifying if you think about it, right? It's like basically is going to be the super intelligent dude with the force wearing a crazy like cyborg Mando suit. So I mean the prospect of it was pretty scary. So
Absolutely. I thought it would make a great video game or something, like just some of the concepts around that. In a show, it was unique, but I mean, kind of reminded me of Force Unleashed. But with the whole armor, and I mean, this is not really a reveal because they showed in last
oh yeah, yeah.
episode, right, of Gideon's armor.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh
way
yeah,
they
yeah.
use Gideon was very Darth Vader in this. Like he has a mask, and the way he's talking through the
I would deal with
mask,
them
and
myself.
myself when he walks around. It's like, oh, so I actually do like that because I think when you start talking about the positives of this episode,
Yeah,
like as much as I joke, like I like Andor and I like these other things, like the Mandalorian understands what Star Wars is.
yep,
Like we watch it and you just get the feelings. The music kicks in. There's all the characters, R5 and all these like little details of things that they do that's like it just feels like Star Wars in it. And then those are the
yeah,
parts I like. Yeah, it was your Walmart brand Vader, but it still was great. Like I love the way that they pull those
yeah.
those those narratives together.
With references to Dark Maul. So I
Yeah,
looked to
yeah.
Darth Maul. It was good. It was good. I like the whole like Maul match he got going on with the helmet, and um I'm just surprised that it was like, oh, I was one of the Maul's followers when he was doing this thing over here, so that's how I ended up was part of the Empire, and I knew that what he was up to, and I admired him. Like I thought that they were gonna name drop Maul because of the callbacks for the helmet,
Yeah, I've seen a few
but
people say that they thought.
there was like nothing said about it, and whatnot. So I think the most controversial. So let's talk about like the non things that happened. Right, it's like everyone was speculating about the armor. Everyone was talking about another traitor. Right,
Who's the spy?
there's no spy. There was no spy. It was called
Why was it called the
Why was called the
spies?
spies. There's no spies. Yeah.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I do wonder, like, is this gonna come back in the future? And then, like, remember episode The Spies, chapter 27?
No,
You know what I
that would
mean?
be
Like, it
that would
doesn't make any sense. How would you do
no.
that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it would actually go back to it. Honestly,
Yeah, it doesn't
yeah,
really make a lot of sense.
yeah,
Because I thought it was Axe for a split second, but the moment he shows up at the ship and he's like, "Everybody off of here, they're coming to war," I was like, "Oh no, this
yeah,
dude's not dirty. He's
yeah,
he's trying to look out for his people, and he's trying to go down in a blaze of glory
yeah,
too."
yeah. And then yeah,
Dude,
right, right. And then I was like, "Where's the armor? The armor is missing.
yeah,
Where'd she go?"
yeah,
And then she just shows up, and I was like, "Okay, great."
and that fight sequence, bro, when they're
Oh,
all just
that's
invading
really
in,
good.
and she's just using her hammer like
I think the action
Mandalorian
overall,
Thor over here,
yeah,
and just just taking out people.
yeah, the action overall in
Great.
this episode was really good. Like,
Budget goes up in the finale of the Mandalorian every
yeah,
season, right? Last
yeah,
season we
yeah,
got the cybernetic, dudes,
yeah.
whatever that
The
Luke
Dark
fights
Troopers,
off,
yeah.
Dark Troopers, like budget goes up in the end.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't disappointing when it comes to like again subverting expectations because everyone was expecting the spies to be revealed, and there was no spies really. Honestly,
No,
it was weird. Like it was a
yeah, I don't
weird.
understand why it was called
Maybe
that.
maybe they did it on purpose, Joe. Maybe they did it just to It's like, oh, maybe we should just call it the spies and have people go crazy on the internet. That's basically what happened, right? And then nothing happened. So yeah. Um, kind of disappointed that we didn't actually get a lead in into Ahsoka, right? Um, but here's what I'm thinking, right? Also, and this is what I thought after when I finished watching the episode. It's like, oh man, it's like no big cameo, no big reveal, no post credit stinger. Like it was very very standard.
Mm-hmm.
good, right? But it was all very safe, very standard, part for the course. But then I started thinking, I was like, oh, maybe they're just saving all the crazy stuff for Ahsoka, right? And they're not gonna just give us two crazy things in the same year. So maybe that's what it is. That's what I was thinking. So maybe that's the case. But yeah, I mean, overall, I liked it. It was like, yeah, definitely not the best season. Definitely last season or season two was the best one. By by a wide margin, I would say. Um, but it was competent. I mean, they had a couple episodes here and there, like you know, like the Lizzo episode that we're totally filler. We there's a video on that, guys, if you wanna check it out on YouTube. But it's I mean, it is what it is. It was what it was. And it was fine. It wasn't great. It was good. You know, kind of disappointed that there was no bigger deal stuff happening, but also kind of excited that the Mandalore was recovered. So, and that's lore wise, that's pretty exciting. So like for the Shreddies, that's a big deal. So
Yeah, yeah. Mandalore being returned to his rightful people, and like that was a beautiful ending from that, and I love that. And again, I think it's a good episode. I really did like it. I think it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a ton. I don't want people to get the wrong ideas on it, but just initial reactions as I digest it for sure. Um, Obed, now you had heard these rumors maybe before as well, but you know how they had said, or some people had speculated that the show, like whatever the next season after this was gonna be a completely different name. Like they weren't even gonna call it The Mandalorian anymore or something like that. It was kind of evolve into something else. I don't know if you had heard this before. I'm trying to remember who
no,
started this thing going around,
not necessarily,
but
but I did hear that it was going to evolve into something else. Yeah.
right. And then now hearing that Filoni's working on a movie, it's like, you know, is it really? It could be the Mandalorian season 4. I'm not saying that that isn't. It makes more sense to go that way, but I would not be shocked that we find out very soon, like it's not actually what we think it's going to be called or whatever, and it's something else. But yeah, yeah, we'll see. Plenty of held out for Ahsoka, and that's the show that I'm trying not to get too excited. Like how we said, fans, we get too excited and we start
Yeah.
predicting and
Yeah.
thinking. So I'm trying to keep my expectations in check, but I would be lying if I didn't say that that's the one that I am most excited for.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it too. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I enjoyed Rebels. Pretty good. I think like all the other like animated Star Wars stuff, like Clone Wars and Rebels. Like the first season is like, but even I would say that Rebels season one is definitely way superior than like the first two seasons of Clone Wars.
Oh, the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars is rough. Once you get to the bounty hunter season, once you get to the bounty hunter season, like with the whole Cad Bane
Yeah.
stuff, then you're good.
Yep. Yeah. That's when it starts getting good, and then but Rebels was good. Like from the beginning, it was pretty good. So
No, I
um,
agree.
I don't think there's much of a dispute there. But if it's gonna be more Rebels, and I know that um Dave wasn't too involved with this season of Mando. He was because he was working on Ahsoka. He's working on other projects, right? Um, so this
I
was
like this cameo.
yeah, yeah. So this season was basically like almost all of it was John Favreau and Rick Famuyiwa, right? So
Yeah, the
um,
director of Dope. So it's cool to see. And he's directing the finale, I believe, for Ahsoka as well.
oh he is okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good overall. You know, looking forward to more Star Wars for sure. Joey, before we go on break, just a quick bit of gaming news, and we just had a quick, small announcement on the Switch, or I should call it Nintendo Switch Online. Sega Genesis Selection. Four games are dropping or dropped today, and those games are Flicky, the classic arcade game, Kid Chameleon, a very popular Sega Genesis game from back in the day. They were touting, what 80 levels and hundreds of power ups or whatever. Um, so it's very, a classic Sega Genesis game. Pulse Man, which is a really good pick. This game was not released in the U.S. It was actually developed by Game Freak, the makers of Pokemon. So this game, late Sega Genesis game, came out in '94, but it's very good. I played Pulse Man. Pulse Man was real good. So if you have the Switch back with the Genesis games, yeah, definitely give it a try because it's a good game. And Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, which I think it's the best version of Street Fighter 2 before Super and on console. It's special for the Genesis. I think
Yeah.
it's better than the Super Nintendo versions, just because it's a little bit closer to the arcade when it comes to the looks and how it sounds. So, just my opinion. So, but yeah, just wanted to drop that real quick before we jumped into some, I guess, kind of like a bummer section of news. I mean, we have a couple of good ones, but it's kind of a downer, guys. We gotta be straight with you. So we'll see you guys in a second. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are back. Joel, a few weeks ago, we mentioned about Jonathan Majors and some of the trouble that he was having with the law and what the ramifications of his actions or inactions could be, right? I'm not saying he did, and that nothing like it's still all being investigated. But Joel, we got some, I guess, not too great news this week about his career in general, and most importantly, I guess for a lot of people, his tenure in Marvel. But go ahead, man. What's up with that?
Yeah, so this week has not been a good week of news for Jonathan Majors. One of the first big bombshells was when we found out that his PR team, essentially through Entertainment 360, was going to be dropping him. And this was a really, a big one because obviously he's in the midst of a PR crisis, right? So this is where you would want to have your PR team fully step in and defend you and have the ammunition to make sure your public image is good. And if they are stepping away and saying we can't defend you because of, you know, what's going on right now and really promoting your image, that's not a good look at all. We knew that that wasn't a good sign. Then you follow up with today, we started to hear news that several different projects that he was in development with, had dropped him. So, according to Deadline, the actor was dropped from movies like The Man in My Basement was one of the projects, the fifth season of another series, Otis and Zelma, and another one I think with the Spike Lee movie that he was going to be working on. There's still some up in the air on that too, as nothing's been fully confirmed. So that was then also a bad sign. Your PR team drops you, then these other studios drop you. Disney has yet to say anything. They have not publicly come out and commented, and neither has the district attorney as well in New York has not come out and said anything about this as well. Now, that was one of the big kickers. Another pretty popular YouTuber who has a legal background, so I don't want to say credit for it, had also commented on this earlier in the week and was saying something on lines essentially that, um, early on when we found out last month that Jonathan Majors had been arrested, had been processed for, alleged, violence essentially. Um, at the time, the immediate reaction from him and his team was he's innocent and he will prove his innocence. And then his legal team basically said, we've got proof, we've got videos, we've got statements, whatever, that this is going to get dropped relatively immediately. We're going to get these charges dropped and it's going to be completely gone. We've got it.
Yeah.
Right. That was almost a month ago. You typically, I guess, from the legal, and I'm not a lawyer, but just hearing other people's, breakdowns of saying that's not a good sign if we're now looking almost a month later and the district attorney has not dropped the charges if there was actual proof or anything that could bring reasonable doubt, of what was actually going on. So you have that kind of speculation. There's no, absolute proof of any. This is just all hearsay. And then you have the PR team dropping him as well, followed by these other projects. The time the doom clock seems to be ticking down. And it's a shame because this doesn't have this is separate from talent, right? The talent's good. We know what we've seen before from this actor. I'm not even just talking about Marvel. I know, but that's what we're going to talk about in a second here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen him in other things. Earlier this year, I watched him in a movie called Devotion on Paramount Plus. It was based on a true story. It was great portrayal that he had in that, and he's done playing. Obviously, I saw him in Creed. It was really solid in Creed 3 as well. But unfortunately, he was a little bit too much like his character in Creed. It seems like, for unfortunate reasons. I wish someone like Michael B. Jordan would just pull him to the side and just talk to him and say, "Yo, get this together. Let's walk through the process. Let's admit where we're wrong if there is something wrong and get through." But we'll see. Now, as for literally within the last, I want to say 2.5, 3 hours, the last bombshell dropped today, which was that there are now several other women that have gone to the district attorney with abuse allegations as well about his misconduct in their relationships. So it's this reminds me too much now of the Ezra Miller situation. The difference here is, the what we've seen him before in, like what we saw him in Loki and what we saw him in Ant-Man. He had already filmed that stuff. It was already done. And then now this stuff comes out literally right after that movie had come out, Ant-Man, right? So like, yes, you have technically the Kang Dynasty film that his name is literally on an Avengers film, the character at least. But at the same extent, it's not like they've started shooting that Avengers movie. You can pivot. Like we've talked about this before. Yeah. You can change villains or you can just change actors. Bro, I'll throw out a name that's no one's talking about. Ray Fisher, bro. Ray Fisher could come in here and he could probably happily step in. I know when I heard him last at MegaCon, he said he would gladly join Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, The guy probably could use the
Because
work as well. Why not, bro?
I saw someone talking about John Boyega.
Ah, that's another great choice. Another great
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
Yep.
but Ray Fisher would be a good choice, dude. Like
Right?
he's got like the stoic thing going on, right? And
Like he was a stage actor before he was even a film
yeah, yeah,
actor,
yeah.
similar to Jonathan Majors' background.
I think that's a great choice, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, if Marvel were to make that change, right? I think that's a solid choice there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what's Ray Fisher's not
Joe doesn't want to
problematic
call Ray
unlike
Fisher friend.
allegations.
Joe doesn't want to call Ray Fisher friend of the show.
Yeah, I got him on my contacts, guys. I got this. I'm gonna call him up now.
I think that's solid, dude. I think that truly is a solid choice.
It's all right. Maybe IGN will give us the credit if it happens.
Yeah, right. You heard about it first here all the time. Like many other
Oh,
things that you heard it here first.
the Prophet
All
Obed.
the time. Part to
Oh
see
man,
of
good
the
stuff.
internet.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
yeah, yeah,
We gotta have lightness out of a really bad situation,
yeah.
But I think their
It's
things
very,
will come around. They have time to make those adjustments.
it's
It's gonna
very,
be some Comic-Con, bro.
yeah.
My
It's gonna be crazy. It's very unfortunate, right?
yeah.
I think he on screen, right? He's very likable. Like his characters are very likable, and it's a huge bummer, right? It's like it's like when oh no, do I get dark? Because it's
Well,
like
I mean, it's already a dark situation. Like it's something that's like a very,
oh
very, people
no,
getting abused. It's just really a sad situation.
it's oh man, it's like I don't know, man. Because we talked about it, right? It's like going back and watching a Brian Singer movie.
Yeah. No,
It's
yeah.
tough.
That's a good
It's
analogy
tough, but it's like,
because the
man, this
guy's
is
good
so
at what he
good,
did.
but also very unfortunate. You
Right.
know?
Right. No, that's a
Yeah,
great analogy. Yeah.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Superman Returns with him and Kevin Spacey. Ooh, talk about a tough watch now, Joel. Wow.
Oh my goodness, you're so right.
Yeah, dude.
And we're talking about the Superman anniversary here
Yeah,
coming up, but
yeah,
but Singer came back and tried to connect to that universe, and oh man.
yeah, dude. Eek.
Wow.
That's a tough watch now.
That's a tough
I
one.
have the DVD here somewhere. Special edition, limited edition DVD or
Special
whatever DVD version I bought for that movie,
Hey,
man.
it might be worth something someday.
Wow, right. Probably not too much. But yeah, it's like that kind of scenario, right? It's um it's very unfortunate. Again, these are still allegations. I'm not saying that these things
Right.
are true, right?
Mm,
You always hope that they're not, right? But
right.
if there are, there's been cases, right? And
It's not like he was caught on camera choking a woman at the moment.
like, there's things that are really like more egregious than others, right? And you know, technically
You,
kidnapping a minor, and
yeah.
it's yeah, man,
Like some
it's
things were caught on
crazy.
4K.
Something we're going for. Hitting someone with a chair at a wedding or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's
Some
things are
bizarre
different,
stuff.
but
But
you know,
I hope it's not true, but at the same extent, we don't know.
yeah. And if it's true, that like you said, hopefully someone steps up and offers the help he needs, and
Yes.
and that he's man enough to accept the help he needs. So
Right.
that's another thing. So yeah, hoping for the best on this one, but like we talked about in the past, they're not too late where they can still pivot. They can still, let's wrap up Kang in a not too very pretty bow, and let's move on to Doctor Doom. Or you can just recast Kang. And yeah, Ray Fisher, I think that's like solid choice, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Step right in.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but we'll see. Uh, Joe, we talked about quite a bit about the changes at Disney and the layoffs and reorgs and all this stuff. But it was in the news today that next week seems to be the next big day for cuts, and 15% of studio jobs are going to be phased out. Unfortunately, so heart goes out to those affected, and hopefully you guys can bounce back real quick, get back on your feet, and keep
Yeah.
moving. Um, Unfortunate, right? We already talked about it a few times before. So yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say, at least on my end, right? But yeah, like I speculated a few weeks ago. More, I said it's like most of those people that are going to be laid off are going to be studio people, and here they are. So
You also made an interesting prediction in our last episode of 2022 where you said that you think ESPN was going to get sold off. More and more seeing that being a possibility. ESPN allegedly only has 5,000 employees worldwide. It has gotten extremely small.
wow,
It is only going to be even smaller after whatever cuts they make from what it sounds like.
yep. Well,
That's not a good sign, bro.
and we got data to back it up. Or unfortunately, it's not data we can share on the podcast.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we have
We know.
we know, we've seen it,
Yeah.
and it's crazy, right? Just in the last 10 years, that downward spiral that is like cable TV and I
Oh
guess
yeah.
TV in general, it is it is incredible. And if you're a cable channel, it's quite alarming. And that's why we see all these crazy mergers, right? Discovery and HBO and all this other stuff, because it's if they don't do it, they would have to close down.
Right. They have to adapt other products and other
Yeah.
things to live.
Yep. So it's crazy that Comcast is doing, I mean, like Comcast is doing really well, right?
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, right? Disney's gonna have to either fully take over FX and find out another channel that they can probably absorb, and they need to spin off ESPN. Needs to, man, 5,000. That's lean, dude.
Worldwide, that's it.
That's
Yeah.
lean. I mean, counted that, at least 100 employees make like super big bucks. Though that's
No, for sure.
yeah,
But I mean, you're not talking about, oh, we only cover football, basketball, baseball. Like they do
every sport,
everything. Like the Olympics, the water polo, like whatever, that's them.
darts, bowling,
Darts, yes.
poker,
I
Street
mean, you
Fighter.
name it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, dude,
they
everything.
do
And
everything.
there's only 5,000 people.
That's lean, dude.
And there's, how many people are going to school trying to get a job, that their dream job is to work at ESPN, stuff, and they're just slashing it more and more.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah. I mean, considering, I mean, this is public information, right? But considering that there's a
Yeah.
major sports broadcaster, local broadcaster, it's in what, 30 states, right? I think
Yeah.
filed for bankruptcy because it's like people are not watching TV, and
Yeah.
it's ESPN.
Did,
They gotta. I don't think they have to reformat. I think they reformatted pretty well, but at the same time, they just need to double down on their online.
yeah. There's definitely some decisions ESPN has made that hasn't helped them, but that's a whole nother
Oh
conversation. But
yeah,
I just thought I'd bring that up because your prediction that you mentioned that the end of last episode of last year, I have it written down, and I'm just
wow,
waiting because maybe this is gonna come to fruition sometime soon, and Obed's gonna bust out the lightsaber of truth again, and the
yeah.
prophet Obed's gonna be right about this thing. Now, did you see with Netflix how they're gonna be sending out their last bit of DVDs
Yeah, they're closing
this
down the
year,
DVDs. Yeah, yeah,
which was
yeah,
their primary business.
yeah,
Streaming was secondary,
yeah,
and the fact that they are fully streaming and that they're primary business is actually shutting
Well,
down, and they're doing better than they were back then.
I knew, yeah,
Signs of the time.
I knew the when Netflix announced that they were gonna have original content. I was like, this is done.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna, I was shocked. Like 2 years ago, was it about a yeah during lockdown
Hmm.
that I found out that Netflix was still like doing DVDs. I was like, holy crap, are they still doing this? I was like, that's
I know,
crazy.
right? Somebody out there.
Yeah, man. There's yeah, somebody out in freaking Montana or Nebraska or is like
Yeah.
still renting DVDs, dude. It's like
Yeah.
internet's
That's the
awful. I want to watch these movies. Just send them over.
hey.
Yeah,
eh, it's just it shows it was a fate being phased out. But yeah, that's historic. That's
yeah,
historic.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. we'll see. It's been a quite an interesting year for Disney.
Hmm.
Counting last year and this year, it's been quite a ride. So, um, yeah, we'll keep an eye out for anything that happens. We'll definitely let you guys know if that prison's gonna get built
Oh, come on,
next to
bro.
Magic Kingdom.
There's a lot that can be said. There's a
Idiot,
lot that can be said about the prison.
Idiocracy, the movie. It was
The-
actually documentary. It's not.
You know what? There's a lot that can be said about the prison.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Uh,
We already made comments about the chariots and things, and yeah.
oh, the chariots. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love the chariots. Chariots are
I
awesome.
love it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, Disney.
Yep. Well, we shall see. All right. Well, here's the non-bummer kind of news section. Um, we had an announcement today reveal of what the next Godzilla Kong project will be, and the official title is Godzilla Cross Kong: The New Empire, coming out next March. And now I think this is moving over to Sony, or is this still Warner?
I thought it was still Warner.
Let's see. Fact checked.
I thought it was.
Oh yeah, Warner. Yeah.
I think that I think you are right when you're saying though, like there's shared rights or something, like another studio is going to make their own Godzilla. Am I right to say this? Something like that? Something happened.
My understanding was that because of all the Warner drama, Legendary did not renew, and they were gonna go with Sony for maybe some projects. Maybe it's not everything.
Okay.
So that could be.
Okay.
You know what?
Yeah,
Let's.
you're right. Legendary Studios moving from Warner. Godzilla Studio Legendary is leaving towards Sony as they have linked a new deal. Yep, that was last year. So
Okay.
you are right in that.
Yeah.
So Legendary is back. So then interesting.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
is
I
and this
wonder.
movie's coming from Legendary still.
I wonder if it's because of the Kong rights. They still are gonna do the Godzilla Kong with Warner, but then do like future projects are gonna be done with Sony.
Hmm.
Maybe that's what it is.
Or is it that Godzilla project specifically, like if there's a solo Godzilla movie, that has to be done now just purely through Legendary? Kind of like the Hulk thing. You know what I'm talking about? Where like
Uh,
Hulk can be in an Avengers movie and he can be in Thor and
but no
whatever.
solo.
But if there's a solo Hulk, it has to be a Universal film.
I
You
see.
know what I'm saying? I wonder if it's something like that. Like, because he's in a Kong movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
So I wonder if like maybe we mentioned it. I don't remember. I mean, I've been sick for a week. So, uh, but when we talk about Street Fighter and
Yeah.
Legendary getting the rights, does that mean that that's gonna be Sony then?
Right,
So that means
right.
that Sony is probably gonna be funding another Street Fighter. Well, I mean,
I know, right?
so well, that's interesting. So, yeah, I'm excited. I really
No,
enjoy.
for
It's
sure.
like I actually grabbed the movie, the Godzilla versus Kong, the other day, and I was like, I should buy this. And then my daughter started yelling about something else, and I was like, and I totally forgot to get it. Well, I'll
Nice,
get it.
nice.
I'll get it eventually. It's one that I'm actually looking forward to actually physically
The
owning.
Kong and
So
Godzilla movies that they've done, Legendary's put out like over the last few years have been good.
King of
Like
Monsters was excellent.
King of Monsters was excellent. Skull Island was not bad. You go back and
No,
watch that movie. I
that
went back and
cast,
watched it. And it was not that bad, dude.
that cast
Tom
solid, dude.
Hiddleston and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, yeah,
Sam Jackson, it was good.
yeah. It was good for sure. Yeah, we'll see
The
what that's gonna be. What? Yeah.
the villain though in the teaser that came out, right? So that's not an existing character. Am I right to say this? So because it's a skinnier looking ape that's sitting on there, right? That clearly is looking out, and everyone's saying that that's basically an underworld, like old Kong species
Oh yeah,
that's been a champion.
he's
It's
more.
not Kong.
It's not Kong. Yeah, he's
Hmm.
more more
He looks
chimp
different,
looking.
right?
Yeah.
So he's a different type of beast. So it's interesting to see what they do. But the title being New Empire, and obviously they tease the whole like they used to be like kings on the land beforehand their species. So them going back to that kind of hidden world, which I liked. I know that some people thought that was goofy. I loved that in the
Yeah.
last movie. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I love Godzilla. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm in. You know, I'm in. So
Oh yeah.
I'll
Gaju's your guy.
go use my dude. So I'll totally watch that. Yep. Um. All right. Before we go to the next one, let's do. So a former developer from I guess Free Radical is stating that Star Wars Battlefront 3, meaning Star Wars Battlefront 3, the continuation of the PS2 games, which more than likely would have been a PS3 game if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Was yeah, 2008, said that the game was 99% completed and then it was canceled. So what the heck, man? It's like what
Which
happened?
which is really weird. Title was the article title on this was so clickbait because at first I was like,
Yeah.
wait, are they talking about the Battlefront that we know, that we've recently been talking about? I
Yeah.
was like, wait, that's not gonna come
We have
out,
to
which still,
clarify. Yeah. I
but
mean,
I'm glad you clarified.
yep.
But yeah, the 2008 continuation, the fact that they were like basically referring to it as 99% complete, and that would have been a PS3 title, very bizarre. Maybe they just thought that it was too close to next gen stuff and they just shifted gears to a refresh, but
Yeah.
doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it's in the project was canceled in 2008, and then when when did the EA Battlefront come out? 2015.
Yeah, it was years
So
later.
it was quite a few years later. Yeah. Um. Very interesting. Very interesting. I wonder why the decision was made. I mean,
It
Battlefront.
says on here milestones were missed continuously and that
Free Radical
you,
wasn't doing too great financially back then, though, from what I
Lucasfilm
know.
or LucasArts was desperate for what was then the next gen follow up to Battlefront.
Yeah,
Doesn't
because
make a lot
that
of
game
sense.
did really good. Battlefront 2 is, some people say, is the best Star Wars game ever, and I don't blame
Yeah,
them. I mean, I don't dispute it, right?
right, right.
That's how
It's a
good
good
that game
argument.
is, right? It's like I think that so far, Fallen Order is the best Star Wars game, but if you say it's like no man, the best one is Battlefront 2, it's like yeah, I believe I respect that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a good game.
yeah. No,
So
for sure.
um, oh man, it's very strange.
Yeah.
It's like they would have made so much though. Like because we were like salivating for a
Oh
Battlefront
yeah.
game for a long time, and then we got the EA one with no campaign, and then
Right.
100% online, and then two had a campaign, but that's a totally different kind of worm. So I don't want to go into the details of that. It's too much, but
Right.
oh man,
It's the history of what was. Fans will never know. Will this spur on some leaks of, you know,
yeah,
pre alpha, gameplay or some concept art or something? Because I don't remember much being revealed about this, like while it was in production? Do
There's
you?
actually footage out there. I can send it to you.
Okay, yeah. I
I've
was like, I
seen
don't.
a few things, and it looked competent.
Okay,
So
for its time, obviously.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, it's very strange.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'd like to definitely hear the whole story on this one for sure.
yeah.
Hopefully, we can learn about it someday. But Joe, um, what have I been saying since the first trailer? Did I say $2 billion?
You've stuck to it.
I stuck to it. We're close to $1 billion for the Super Mario Brothers movie, um, outpacing most of everything.
Seriously.
Honestly, the is it like the lowest recorded like drops on the weekend drops, right?
Yeah, it's the
Something like
lowest
that
for sure of the year.
for the year. Hmm.
And it is in the top seven all time longest legs right now. Top seven with films like Avengers Endgame and Star Wars: The Force Awakens being around those kind of movies that just had legs, and that's an indication
Yeah, and
they're in good company.
it's trending. It's saying that the for this weekend, this coming weekend, it's like a minus 51, which is still very strong.
Wow.
So it's
Yeah.
gonna still again do a very strong weekend. It's still not out in Japan. The movie comes
Right.
out on the 28th in Japan, dude, and South Korea. Um, yeah, man, they're missing half of their money still, and they're close to $1 billion.
Right, right, right. No, it's true. Because
Yeah.
I'd say the one thing that affects it is that we have summer movie season coming in. Um, like you
What's
have
the next
May, you
big
have Guardians
Guardians,
first week
right?
of May,
May, yeah.
and that's we'll see what the reaction is to that. Right now, there's a lot of hype around it, but Marvel has had not a great record recently, so we'll see. If that doesn't do good, then Mario's gonna keep having legs. Like there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Joel, you're accepting
Um,
that Marvel movies are not as good as they used to be?
oh, 100%. 100%. Come on, man.
Ooh,
No, does that mean that
you
I'm
heard it
turning my
from
back on these?
Marvel boy himself,
Right?
man.
Am I turning on these things? No, no. But I'm not
Wow.
saying I can't sit here and be like these are as good as Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and like we were back in a time that people don't realize how blessed we were with the movies that were coming out at
So
those
good.
those times. For
Like
sure,
that break from the first Avengers to the second Avengers was solid. From the I'm
absolutely.
sorry, from yeah,
Yeah,
from the first
for
between the first
Ultron,
Avenger to Age of Ultron, that in between was solid, man.
very
Um,
good.
even with like a lot of people like to dump on Thor Dark World, I enjoyed it. I
It's
still
fine. It's
like
fine.
I liked it better than the last one.
Yeah. Oh, same,
Honestly speaking,
same.
yeah,
Same. Yeah, it's funny. I was seeing a thread on Twitter about that because we were like, "Oh, it was a year ago when the last trailer for Thor came out or whatever." They're like that movie was hot trash. Like it's not
wow,
aging well at all. But yeah, Mario is definitely gonna have legs if that movie doesn't perform the way. I personally think that Guardians, like as I look at it more and more, Guardians 3, I'm actually getting more excited for it. And if you would have told me
yeah,
that just like a year ago, I'd be like, "Ah, it seems okay."
yeah,
But I'm actually getting more and more hyped for it. I think
the,
people just like the characters, like
yeah.
Peter, Drax, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, like all those characters people really like. So, that helps.
Yeah, I think it's gonna do well. I think Guardians is gonna be good. And I think like James Gunn, that he was given the opportunity to come back, right,
Yeah,
and finish this up, and then move on to, I don't want to say greener pastures, but pastures,
and
other
it's a
stuff.
promotion. Let's be real, it's a
It is a
promotion.
promotion, yeah. Honestly. So, and I don't blame him, right, for taking the opportunity and
100%.
jumping in on it. For come on, man, it's like a no brainer, honestly.
He could literally that could be his last job ever. Like he literally
Oh yeah,
can do
yeah,
that and then retire and set out to the sunset.
yeah. Honestly, but yeah, this guy is doing really, really good. Still they're killing it. Will it pass? What's the highest animated right now? Is it
Oh, it's
is it
past
Frozen 2?
everything, dude. It's passing everything.
Yeah, I mean
It already beat
it's on
Frozen for greatest opening of all time for an animated film.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's on track to pass
Minions
the
was a
first Avengers.
billion,
So
which was 15, which was 15th highest of all time.
yeah,
So, yeah,
it's gonna
I'm
be in
looking at
good
the all
company.
time right now, and no, we're wow. I mean, this is gonna be up there for sure.
Yeah, man. I told you.
If it gets to 2 billion, if it gets to 2 billion, then it passes Spider-Man No Way Home. It's infinite. I don't think that gonna be the case. Personally, I'm gonna be very conservative and
Yeah,
say we should be really happy if we get between 1.2 to 1.5,
I
somewhere
think
between that
I think it's gonna
range.
end up in 1.5, right?
Yeah, I think
That's
that's a good
realistically
split.
speaking. I think it's gonna end
But
up.
I ain't
But
counting it
that's
out. Don't get me wrong. I'm
no,
not
yeah,
counting out 2 billion because like you said, that's a big market coming in, but it's just because we're talking about the summer. Like that's I think what affects it for sure.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
like I'm looking at the movies it would pass. It could Frozen 2 is 1.4 billion. I think it's going to pass that. Top Gun Maverick just on the verge of 1.5. It's going to be right behind Fast and Furious 7. That's what's going to happen. Seriously. That's
Oh
what's
my
gonna
god.
happen. It's gonna be the 12th highest grossing film.
And not to mention the lasting effect that this movie's gonna have, because I think the Sonic movie next year is gonna do really well.
I love the Sonic movies. Yeah,
Yeah, like I think this movie, a lot of people that maybe went and watched Mario and were not aware of the Sonic movies are probably gonna go back and watch the Sonic movies, and it's like, oh, there's another one coming out next year. Let's go watch it too. A lot of people
I
are
think
gonna go back and they were sleeping on those Sonic movies, and those movies are really good. So,
this is helping the gaming community. Last of Us from a television standpoint, right?
mm-hmm.
Getting good credentials.
Yep,
Like I said, the Sega films, right? Those Sonic movies have done very well.
yep,
Now Mario going to be a record breaking thing. All the studios are going to be looking. All of them, Disney, they're all going to be looking, saying, "Wait a second, there's a gaming revival going on because there's multiple projects now.
yep.
It's not just one outlier.
So
Each of these we're seeing success. There's going to be a rise in this.
again, going back to the land of missed opportunities, Disney canceling the Play Pavilion at Epcot.
Bring it back. Bring it
God,
back.
I bet that this
D23.
they could potentially just do a Wreck-It Ralph 3.
That was
Nintendo
supposed to
might
be a mega at
Nintendo might
Magic Kingdom, right?
what, the Wreck-It Ralph, right?
Wreck-It Ralph was supposed to be at
Yeah,
Magic
yeah, yeah,
Kingdom.
yeah. So Nintendo may just say no, we're not gonna lend you our characters anymore for Wreck-It Ralph. You do you.
True.
Yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting battle for the gaming rights now. We'll see, dude. We're gonna see some obscure stuff like
Absolutely.
what we saw with when Uwe Boll doing House of the Dead and those trash movies of Far Cry and Postal and he didn't do Postal, but garbage nonetheless. But yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting time. Joel, we're out of time. Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for sticking with us here for this episode. We really invite you to stay subscribed to our podcast platforms of your choice. You can find us Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon Music. Find us on your podcast platform of choice. Hit that subscribe button. Do the same on the No Load Time YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. You know, we're not asking you guys to send money. We're not asking you guys to do anything crazy. Just by hitting that subscribe button, by hitting the like on videos, by dropping a comment, those are the things that really help and support us. That's the stuff that goes a long way. So you guys have been amazing. You guys have been awesome, been so wonderful, so supportive, and we're gonna ask you to stick with us. Make sure you're following No Load Time on social media at No Load Time. It's at No Load Time. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. You also can follow us on Twitch, No Load Time Altogether. That's No Load Time Altogether on Twitch. And then last but not least, if you have a question, comment, feedback, proposition, I don't know, you can send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. And if it's a question or comment, maybe, just maybe, we'll even talk about it on a future episode. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to being with you next week.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. We will see you again next time.